Hi, my name is is Hezzy Hill, and I'm a person who stutters. And today I will be talking about what it's like to be me in my reality.
Tell me about when you're singing, because we just watched you sing, and for the holidays, and you and a small group of your peers were singing. Tell me what that's like.
Well, music is really like the way that I am able to express myself and to kind of um, show how I feel and to kind of get out all of my anger and like all of my issues because you know, when I'm singing, I don't stutter. When I'm like playing the drums, you don't even have to talk at all during that. And and I've always had sort of a talent for it, so I love it, and I love to keep pursuing it. So. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, we're talking Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Jolly, 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 jolly.
So tell me what it's like in social situations when you have to go to a football game or basketball game or something like that.
Well, usually before even I get dressed to go, I'm already having thoughts about like what might happen or yeah, just like what might happen, and like the worst case scenario is like I might not be able to say my name or something like that, or I might have to talk to some attractive girls or something like that. It just really depends on what your fears are. And when I go, it's when I end up going, I have like a lot of anxiety, and like often my heart will start beating really fast, and I might start sweating a lot, maybe even shaking some. It kind of feels like you're drowning, but like just not. But you're like alive while it, it happens. So yeah, that's kind of what it's like.
Do you have the same anxiety as like when you're going to a football game or a basketball game as you do when you're preparing for a concert or to sing?
No, I mean you always have those butterflies like right before you go up on stage, but like as soon as you sing that first note, kind of all that goes away because you remember what you were taught and like how far you've come or what you learned over the course of your career, like what you've sung or something like that.
If there was something that you wanted people to know about people who stutter, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that we're just like everyone else, except like we just talk slower, or maybe the world moves a little bit slower for us. But I mean, we're just like everyone else. We have eyes and ears, and we breathe, walk. Most of us walk. We just do everything that a normal human would. Maybe not. Maybe just a little slower. Other than that, stutterers are actually usually stronger than normal people, like most because we've had to go through like a lot at a young age, and just to always every day have to go out in society and have to publicly humiliate yourself, and to not have any control over that, kind of sucks. But it's just my life, and there are good things about having a stutter also.
What's some of the good things about having a stutter?
Well, in my opinion, I think stutterers have like a higher sense of how other people are feeling, and have an acute sense of how they're feeling, and know what they're feeling, what their emotions are. And I think that's really important, to be able to like know how someone else is feeling, just by looking at them. And also we have a lot more compassion, and like, we care, because like a lot of the time people don't really care about what's going on with you. I'm just saying, so like, sometimes we just, I don't know, we just care more.
If there was one thing you would ask people to stop doing, what would it be?
I would probably ask people to stop like trying to finish my sentences, because honestly, like I say, my own sentences, like honestly, like a stutter really isn't that big of an issue as people seem to make it in their heads. You just talk a little slow. That's it.
So when you're all alone and no one is around, when there's silence around you, what do you think about?
I guess, I have a lot of self-loathing, so like, like I'll probably, most of the time I'll think of like how much failure, or I think I've become, because I can't like get over, this kind of like simple thing. It seems small, but it's kind of bigger than some people think. But like, I guess it's all in perspective.
But why would you consider yourself a failure because of it?
Because I don't let it hold me back from like a lot of things that I would pursue.
Haven't you accomplished quite a bit and been quite a few places? Tell me about that.
Well, I've traveled around the world singing, and
like where?
China, Brazil, Russia, the Baltic states, which is pretty cool and stuff, but none of that really matters if you don't feel okay with yourself. You can have the whole world and yet have nothing at all. So I think that's really important to understand.
So you're suffering in silence, in a sense.
Yeah.
What are you willing to do about it?
I'm willing to change, but change is hard, and I think change is one of the most difficult things that anyone can actually do, because after a while you start to believe the lies that you've told yourself over however long you've been dealing with whatever struggles that you have. What I'm willing to do, I've been willing to try some stuff out, but sometimes you just need a push, And I don't know like what that is for you guys out there. Maybe you guys have a passion that you guys would like to pursue that, kind of motivates you and kind of keeps you functioning. I think that you guys should use that to help you to, maybe overcome some of the issues that you have. So.
If there was something that you could say to other people who are persons who stutter and are suffering in silence the way you are, what would you say to them?
I would say to not let it consume all of your being, because that's kind of what happens. Like, it just slowly gets you stuck. The person that people see on the outside is not what's on the inside, and you actually start to become the opposite of who you are, which is it's quite sad actually, but it's still a reality of what it is if you let it control you. It won't control you for as long as you. So, yeah, like me, like but like oftentimes I don't hang out with no one, and it's not because I don't know anyone. It's just because, like, you know, sometimes I just, or most of the time I just don't feel like hanging with people because I just don't feel like talking. I just feel bad, and sometimes I think it's better. It's better in that way that I'm just by myself, because so that people won't have the burden of like hearing me like, you know, talk. I think sometimes it's better that way. So that's why I kind of just keep to myself a lot of the time.
Thank you for your time, Hezzy, and thank you for your candor and your honesty.
Hey everybody, I was just gonna play a small short of Somewhere Over the Rainbow by IZ. So, alright, so here we go.